This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring author, psychologist, and daily contributor, Shavaun Scott.
The trial of Chad Daybell continuing on, and we're continuing to see some new witnesses, some old witnesses from the previous season of The Daybells. We saw Zulema Pastenes taking the stand and talking about whether that she had to kind of take a second to determine whether or not she could still control it when asked in the courtroom, do you believe you can control the weather? No. Anyone who's taking a little pregnant pause there, that's going to give you a little caution. Shavaun Scott joining us, psychotherapist and author. Let's just start there. What was your reaction to that when she still kind of pondered a little bit? Maybe I do have those powers.
You know, on the scale of reality testing, Zulema does not score very high.
No.
It's just, I find her kind of a sad character. She's just got this really needy, pathetic quality, which made her a terrific target for a cult leader, you know? A lot of the testimony from her, I think really we got a chance to go into more of Chad's dangerous, crazy theology and the way that he manipulated these vulnerable people. And they just swallowed it, you know? There was some terrifying testimony about his goal in a lot of the phone calls and messages he was putting out to cleanse the earth. And that they were part of the 144,000 and they would eventually be cleansing the earth. Well, we know to them cleansing the earth of zombies meant killing people.
Yeah.
So I found her testimony fascinating. I think she was telling the truth. But yeah, this lady doesn't have both feet on the ground.
Is it difficult, though, to discern the truth from someone like this, who doesn't have both feet on the ground? But when she's testifying in this sort of a setting, is it safe to say that she is telling the truth about Chad?
Yeah, I had the sense she was telling the truth, because you can be a person prone to magical thinking and having a lot of ridiculous beliefs, but then you can still recount those incidents and those beliefs honestly. And I had the sense from her that she had very good recall and her statements were consistent. And it also fits with the things that we've heard, you know, the tape recordings and the other interviews and the other testimony from people, is this is where this group was going.
Let's take a listen to some of her testimony. This is her talking about Chad, essentially grooming her and grooming the group about darkness. And once someone is dark, they don't come back, but they get reborn, because that'll justify everything. Let's take a listen.
During this meeting, Chad said that JJ was going to die young, that he was probably going to die soon, and that he was going to come right back to Earth as Colby's son.
And who is Colby?
Lori's son.
This is obviously extremely disturbing. Chad seemed to know and be very aware, you know, what he said. He was viewed as a prophet by some of these people, that they would buy it. What's your reaction to all of that? And do you think Chad was believing his prophesying powers at that moment in time, or just like, I can do whatever I want?
Yeah. It's really hard to know with Chad to what extent. This is where we would sort of need a psych eval done, you know, formally with testing. To what extent did he really believe his own, you know, craziness? Is he delusional? We know Lori is truly delusional at this point. There may be something that's kind of on a continuum, where he believed it to a certain extent, but it really fed his narcissism, which is probably the primary thing going on with him. We know cult leaders love to have power and this sense of convincing people to follow them and do whatever it is they ask. It made me think of the really dangerous cults, which when you get into their belief system were crazy, but they had such terrible outcomes. The Heaven's Gate cult, Jonestown, I mean, it's weird, as I have called him a low-functioning dimwit, but he was manipulative enough to get people to go along with this stuff. But again, this was a selected group of people, that he managed to find at these religious meetings.
And a thing that we obviously know about narcissists are they don't like following the rules. Even the rules that they have set for themselves oftentimes. Can you speak on that a little bit? Like, why is that? Like, why do the rules suddenly not apply to a malignant extreme narcissist like Lori Vallow or Chad Daybell? And how do they justify that when they expect everybody else to follow their rules?
It's hard for normal thinking people to get into the head of an extreme narcissist because their perceptions of the world, their perceptions of reality, their perceptions of other people are entirely skewed from the rest of us. They don't have the empathy that normal people have. They don't have a sense of a conscience. And so they can just kind of bulldoze through life looking for ways to exploit everybody else.
Yeah, and
it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it seems it's exactly what's going on. Here's Zulema talking about Lori, basically, when she's questioned about, why is it that you and Chad are together? Because aren't you, isn't he married? Aren't you married? This is earlier on. And, well, they got excuses because they're narcissists. Take a listen.
I asked why they were together like that when he was still married. And he said that they had been married to each other 7 times before in other lives, and they had been exalted before together in other creation, in other worlds, and that they were to be together in this life because they had a mission together, and that their spouses would understand because of the mission that they needed to complete. And then the topic of it didn't count for them again came up. And this is another of the times when Lori said, it doesn't count for me.
Well, if it doesn't count for me, as Zulema says, it must be true. Okay, so we get narcissists, they're going to do this sort of thing. How does someone like this, like Zulema, just buy into it? I mean, at some point, isn't there some bar where it's like, okay, this is really kind of going off the rails here?
Yeah, it is really crazy. And a normal person, a normal thinking person would not be able to go there. They would not be able to swallow all this. And I think it just shows the vulnerability that these folks, their followers, had with Chad telling them things like, you have this special mission. You are chosen by God. You're going to be part of this group that cleanses the earth. And boy, they needed that.
Yeah.
That was like water to a desert for them. They truly were craving that kind of attention.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.